All right, fans of music, welcome back. It is Dave, the real music observer, observing real music in real time for real people, just like you and just like me. Uh, the music industry's war on the band Kansas. That is the topic of this video. Yeah, Kansas. They've been boiled down to Carry On Wayward Son and Dust in the Wind, pretty much. Once in a great while, you might hear like Point of No Return on a classic rock radio station. You don't ever hear Hold On, which is just a mammoth song from Audiovisions. There's also a hit on their rock radio hit called Got to Rock On, which I haven't heard since like 1980, 81, when it was all over the radio stations I used to listen to. If you go backward in time, the Monolith album with Reason to Be, People of the South Wind, and there are other tracks on that album that got significant airplay on rock stations. Point of No Return obviously has a bunch of fantastic tunes that don't get radio airplay. The title track I mentioned gets some, but it's just embarrassing with the amount of music. Same with Left Overture. Of course, you get Carry On, but you don't get anything else off of Left Overture. And you can go back to Mask and Kansas's just their self-titled album. I'm not looking for you to go back to the very first album with Can I Tell You and things like that, but we're fans of music. Classic rock people kind of understand classic rock, and we enjoy maybe hearing something a little different on the radio. If you move forward in time after Audiovisions, which again is a great album, you get the John Elefante era, which Play the Game Tonight isn't played anymore. It was a huge, huge song. And Drastic Measures, which again was John Elefante, that was his last album with the band. There's a tune on there called Fight Fire with Fire, which actually charted higher than any other Kansas song on the mainstream rock charts, including Carry On Wayward Son. That's how big it was. There was an MTV video for the song, which really propelled it, but a great song, has this really good guitar riff, and different sounding from any of their older material. Steve Walsh comes back, and you've got Power, which, again, title track is amazing, hasn't been heard in a long time. Tomb 19, same thing. Also, All I Wanted, which was a big hit both at MTV, adult contemporary stations, and rock stations. I never hear the song on the radio. Very accessible. Don't hear it. I mean, even the soft rock stations don't play it, which is just weird. Toward the end of the decade, In the Spirit of Things, and this great tune called Stand Beside Me. Bob Ezrin, I believe, produced that album, Pink Floyd and a bunch of other bands. And the album had a really unique sort of progressive texture. I loved the way the bass sounded on that album. It was Billy Greer playing that. But Stand Beside Me was a big rock radio hit, and it's kind of slower in tempo, mid-tempo song. Last appearance by Kansas on any chart. It didn't hit top 40. It was a mainstream rock hit. All right, so I mean, that's a lot of evidence that it seems as though, again, there's a blackout. There's just denial that we can handle hearing other music. The music that's been produced by Kansas after the fact, after the 1980s, some of it is very good, some of it is so-so, but for the most part, it's just not being played or recognized. That Prelude Implicit album, yeah, it got some independent radio airplay, but didn't do all that well as far as classic rock stations, I can tell you that. It's just weird how we've just turned it off and said, no more. You sit in your little box, you songs, and we'll continue to just pound the two songs into the ground that this band is famous for. But their body of work is just absolutely fantastic. And it's a shame that they're not played more on the radio. All right, I'm done with this. I'll be back with more real music talk in real time. We'll see you then.